Okay, welcome to this very special YouTube preview of my latest estate sale that's happening right now on my eBay sales site. And I'll put the links in there below, but this is a special summertime auction. It is an auction of an estate of a collector in the tri-state New York area, Connecticut, New York City. She was an expensive collector, had some really beautiful things. Mostly vintage treasures in small scale. And that's what really is so special about this sale is that it has a number of pieces that were made in the 1970s. And that's almost like the golden era of miniature making in the sense that there were a lot of makers at the time. There were commercial makers that were making product for kids. And so it was sort of like a time when artisans started to up their game, really improve the quality and realism of the miniatures being made, and keeping an adult collector in mind. And so a lot of the miniatures that I'm selling on this special auction are from that period. And it's really an interesting assortment of miniatures because not only does it come from this transition period, but the makers of some of these miniatures, or several of these miniatures that are in this estate sale, are made by a fair number of IGMA Fellows. There are at least 9 IGMA Fellows included in terms of the makers in this sale. IGMA, of course, is the Guild of Miniature Artisans. They are the largest organization dedicated to the fine art of miniatures. They're a credentialing organization, so they're really the only ones out there creating this credentialing system of artisans and fellows that are accredited with making really fine miniatures. So many, at least 9 of the artists represented in this sale are IGMA artisans. There are also there are at least 9 IGMA Fellows included in this auction, and at least 1 or 2 IGMA artisans. So that's pretty amazing to have that representation in one sale. So really a special collection of vintage miniatures from the 1970s, both from commercial, really well-made commercial pieces, up to fine art pieces of miniaturists at the time who were really trailblazing the world and really starting the modern miniatures movement, if you will, of what we see today, creating collectors, artisans, the miniacs of today really started back then in the 70s. So some of the fellows that are included in this auction include Virginia Merrill, Deborah McKnight. She's known for pottery and ceramics. Patricia Lance, also pottery and ceramics, and George Hoffman, which is he's well known for his furniture making. These 4 IGMA Fellows, by the way, are also founding members of the Guild. So head explode. It's really great to not only, handle these treasures, but know where they come from and what, that they were coming from these people who are really changing the world of miniatures, if you will. And then another, some of the other fellows involved: Jane Bernier, Roger Goutal, Betty Valentine. Love her name, but she was a darling of the miniatures world. People love her stuff. Jean Tagg, Carolyn Curran, a badass miniaturist, if you will. She's also an IGMA Fellow, known for her pottery. Mary Grady O'Brien, another darling of the miniatures world for sure. Jane Conine, and then Sylvia Roundtree, just naming the fellows and artisans in this sale. Pretty impressive people doing really impressive work. So I'm going to share some of the pieces in a second. I'm going to share a small assortment of the pieces that are included in this event. But in terms of just not only the IGMA artisans, the fellows, the artisans, the commercial pieces, there are also a number of artisans who don't necessarily get the credit or don't have the credentialing of IGMA, but are really great artists in their own right. Maybe not as well known, but doing fabulous work. I'm going to take you through them. These are people like Milton Bond, who did reverse glass painting. You have to see some of the posts I did on my Instagram and my Facebook showing reverse glass, which is this amazing technique. And he does it in miniature, by the way. Okay. So I have a few of his pieces in this sale. Ed Norton, not an IGMA artisan as far as I know, but he is actually well known for being one of the founding members of NAME, the National Association for Miniatures Enthusiasts. And then finally, Warren Dick, who did this beautiful, I'm going to share it in a second, William and Mary table in miniature. These guys are actually from that transition period from, I would say, a time when they were really well-made commercial pieces to when there were specific artisan works. This is when the artists went off on their own, started to do their own thing. The show circuit began, IGMA Guild School began. So a lot of these pieces were from that time. So it's really great to get my hands in on seeing, you know, the workmanship from the commercial pieces to all the way up to the fine art pieces. I'm going to share like 10 pieces that are standout highlights from this sale. Of course, I'm going to put all of the links in below, and you can check out the sale. It's happening right now, if I didn't mention that already, and it is ending this Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're interested, go shopping, go bidding, get your bids in. There will be some staggering post 7 p.m. up until about 7:20 p.m. There are 80 lots. So I've staggered some of the lots so that it gives a chance for some people who are going to do some competitive bidding at the last minute and maybe want several things and want to like play that game and outbid and win. So I staggered some of them. It's not ideal. I don't think it's the ideal situation unless I do a full out auction, 5-hour auction. It's hard to do these things on eBay. So let me take you through some of, before I mention that. So the artists who are transitional-ish, I would call them like Mel Prescott, Milton Bond. Mel Prescott, by the way, very well known for her furniture. There was a NAME award named after her. I think they still give it out to this day. So, you know, you could tell right there, you know, she was known back then. She was beloved and adored back then for her work. They even named an award after her. I don't think I have a piece to share. You're gonna have to go see on my website some of those pieces, or go to the eBay and see some of her pieces. I thought I was gonna have a piece here to show you. And then in terms of the commercial pieces represented in the sale, we have Strombecker, Chestnut Hill, Tynietown, and Linfield all in on this sale. And by the way, I had a Meet the Miniaturist interview with Troy Bettridge from Tulsa Tiny on Instagram. He's got a very popular account, really great posts, but very educational on sort of this vintage and the history of miniatures. He's got this huge collection of really great vintage miniatures from like all the way from the 20s to the 60s to the 70s. So we had this great Meet the Miniatures. We had a chat about vintage miniatures. We talked a little bit about the kinds of miniatures in this sale, but also, you know, talked a little about why we're drawn to them, why we love sort of vintage miniatures so much. So look for that. I'll put the link in below as well for that. But with that, I do want to take you through some of the more interesting lots. Like I said, there were 80 lots in this sale. And so, sorry, it's a bad hair day. It's very humid here on the East Coast when I'm filming this. So bad hair day, which is why I'm wearing the hat. So forgive it. So I want to take you through some of these more of the highlights. And these are some of the more interesting pieces. Check out the lots. There's great stuff in everything. But I can't bring them all out. But I wanted to talk a little bit about some of these. The first one I wanted to mention was Milton Bond, who does these beautiful reverse glass paintings, which is not easy to achieve, by the way. You know, it's quite a technique, even in full scale. So, you know, it's a whole layering process of doing sort of the smaller defined pieces first, and then broadening out and creating and finishing off the piece with the bigger images like the sky and the ground. But, you know, this is pretty rare. I don't think I've seen reverse glass paintings in the miniature world. This is unique to me, I think, to the world. Let me know in the comment section if you think this is. I think it's quite unique. I believe he worked in full scale and he did miniature, so that makes it awesome. The next piece up I wanted to share was Betty Valentine. Love her work. I mean, she really was the pioneer of you know, really fine art miniatures, in the sense that proper scaling, really a sense of realism, using fabrics with the right scale so that it actually looks like it's something you would sit in. These beautiful hardwood sculpted legs with claw feet. I think that's what they're called, claw feet, but they're just beautiful. I mean, hold on. Oh, there you go. Look at the detail. It's crazy. This actually I have is being sold as a set. So there are 2 of them. And there's our lovely signature, Betty Valentine. I think I would have really liked her. I love her work. It's just lovely, lovely, lovely. The next piece I wanted to share was part of that transitional period. This is the William and Mary piece I was telling you about by Warren Dick. It is a gorgeous piece. It is truly a beautiful piece. It is made of hardwood. There's lovely, lovely detail. These appear to be hand-turned legs. The workmanship on the inside back is really, really interesting because the pull-out drawer has this awesome stop piece. Does that make sense? There's a stop piece. So that extra added feature is kind of nice. It's kind of nice. It's a beautiful piece. I call this transitional because there is a little bit of heaviness to it. It's lovely, wonderfully scaled, but it's just a little chunky, just an itsy bitsy piece of chunk compared to something that you might see today. And I would encourage you to check out Craig Leben's, because you could put this side by side. This was sort of this is was a standard in the 70s, but someone like Craig Leben's has created this brand new standard for miniatures, and his work is just that much more tighter. But this is a lovely, lovely piece. I'm not complaining at all. This is hold on. This is a book. Okay, I'm gonna probably drop in the opening of the book, because I really don't want to handle this, but it is a full-on readable book. It's The Night Before Christmas by Amanda Epstein. And what's so special about this book is there are hand-printed, hand-created color illustrations and text, all handwritten. I'm gonna pop that in so you could see exactly what that looks like. And you don't really see that often. I don't think I've seen it ever, but there's actually 2 books in this sale that have hand illustrations. Check it out. One is by Amanda Epstein. The other is by Jane Bernier. And it is actually a collaboration between Jane Bernier, IGMA Fellow, and another IGMA Fellow, Jane Canine. That's just my head explodes when I hear that. Jane Canine did all of the illustrations, and Jane Bernier did the binding of the book. Check that out, and it's actually Winnie the Pooh. Too much loveliness happening today. Okay, so the next piece I wanted to share is, again, it's another piece from that transitional period. This is from Chestnut Hill. I love this cabinet so much. What is super interesting about this, now Chestnut Hill was more of a commercial maker of the time, and I don't mean that they mass manufactured these pieces, because they did not. They were handmade. In fact, at the time, Chestnut Hill actually hired artisans to make their pieces. They would not give them credit for making the pieces. They would actually sign it, and this one's actually signed. And thank you to a viewer follower who gave me this information. They told me to check under the drawer, and I did. And oh my God, look, it's signed underneath here. So it's Chestnut Hill signed, but it's signed by the guy who ran the company. He did not make this. This was made by Roger Guttal, IGMA Fellow. Before, again, transition period, before he went off on his own, started to make his own things, his own work under his own name. And there are some Roger Guttal pieces in this sale, so look for them. It just kind of brings everything full circle in a way. Oh, I just love that. And this is actually a personal favorite of mine. I don't know who the artist is. It's by JD. It was made in 1975, and it is sort of a vintage style icebox. And what I love about this, everything opens, and we love opening things in the miniatures world. And it has this awesome latch I love this latch, handmade latch for sure. And this opens to reveal a shelf. And isn't it just so lovely? Lovely, lovely, lovely. I love it. This is actually part of a set. There's a refrigerator. It's a refrigerator. I'm not sure. Check out my lots. I put them together to try to have them make some sense. Another really fabulous piece. I mean, this is really, I'm even afraid to touch this, but this is by Studio B Miniatures. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, it is just, I don't know. I think this might be the most perfect captain's chair I've ever seen. Look at that. Just look at it. I mean, the spindles on the back and the chair seat is got divots. I don't know if that's the right way to call it. It's got that thing happening. It's got pegs. And I believe that those are not just decorative pegs. Those are real pegs. And it's just the perfect chair. And I love it. I love it so much. So there's actually a two-piece lot. There's this chair and another tall chair that are part of this Studio B Miniatures. Oh my God, it's crazy. I'm gonna wrap up with two things. Ready? There's three things, sorry. Three things. There's also a number of like fun textile-y things in this sale. This is a commercial piece, but it's still beautifully done. It's a beautiful piece, beautiful colors. It's in very good condition, considering it was made in the 70s. And then there's this lovely yo-yo quilt. I love this kind of grandma stuff. This comes in a set. I think there are 3 quilts in one lot. Fun, right? I mean, it's just fun. And look how beautifully it's made. And just for the fact that it stood the test of time and it's still here 50 years later, it's crazy, right? 70, 80, 90, yeah, 50 years later. And then finally with the whole textiles, look how cute this is. I hate the word cute, but this is kind of cute. It's a little overscaled, but I like it. I really like it. This is actually part of a whole lot. So there's that. 2 more things. Another collab, head explode collab in this of 2 IGMA Fellows is Deborah McKnight and Patricia Lance. They came together to create this beautiful Amari. It is an Amari? Yes, it's an Amari. It's a circa 1850, oh my God, bowl. And it's just, I hope, I'm going to put better images. I'm going to plop better images in. It's a bowl that has beautiful gold markings and decorative. It's decorative and it's obviously signed on the bottom. It's just, and it really is an extraordinary piece. It's probably one of my favorite in the collection. And it's a collab by 2 IGMA Fellows. So head explode. And then finally, because I love to have something for everybody. And this collection really does have something for everybody in terms of kind of almost every price point, if you will, from the commercial all the way up to the fine artisans. But this is a surprise assortment. Well, not too much of a surprise because you could probably just, screenshot that. But I wanted to give some surprise element, but this is a 100 piece lot of miniatures. It includes artisan stuff. I wouldn't say fine artists, but some of them are signed pieces. There are some rugs in here. There's a little hand quilted, hand crocheted piece. There's a doll in here. I mean, there's a little bit of it. If you like surprises, this might be for you. And you know what? A lot of miniatures, they kind of hoard stuff until a later time when they could do something with it. That's what this bag is all about. Because I know with me, I just like to have a lot of stuff hanging in the wings and ready to go when I need to use it, when I need to put it in a scene or do something with it. But anyway, I do want to thank you for stopping in and checking out my preview for my estate sale that's happening this weekend. Check it out. I'll put all the links in the comment section below. And thank you so much. And if you, follow me, like, comment, subscribe, all that lovely stuff, you know what to do. And as I always tell you, every day, find the joy in miniatures because, things get tough. It's like, just look into the miniatures because it'll make you happy. All right, guys, take care. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.